Look familiar? Scenes like these are happening all over the galaxy right now. You could be next. That is, unless you make the most important decision of your life.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Huh? Me? Just hanging around.
Hello and welcome everybody. Good to be back. Last week, as you know, I wasn't streaming. I was a little bit busy. Let me make sure this is focused on my face. I'm sure probably should have checked that. So, I figured it was gonna get asked. So I figured I'd come out and talk about it head on as we launch into production of episode 2 of Heroes of the Galactic War, which we've already been in production for a little bit. Working on the script and all that kind of jazz. I'm gonna turn the music a little bit. But yeah, working on the script and everything has been going well, and then we've also started and doing stuff with like preparing models and whatnot. So we'll be getting ready real soon to announce more about that and what's going on. But people want to know, how did last week go? In the absence of my not streaming, how did things go? The event. So for those of you who don't know, I went to the Boston Liberty event. Arrowhead invited me up there. Got to hang out, meet a bunch of the developers. Got to meet a bunch of fans. Got to meet a bunch of just other content creators. Got to meet John Helldiver. That happened. And what's with the movie quality camera, or has it always been like that? It's been like this for a little bit. We moved off of the webcam, I feel like a little bit ago now. I can't hear very well. Let me see about adjusting my audio. Let me turn down the music and make sure that I'm well adjusted. Let me know if that's okay. But yeah, got to meet a lot of folks. Me and Cold Brew hung out like a ton. So he's pretty cool. Yes, the John Helldiver. I got a pretty good photo with him. So it's kind of hard to see, but I did post it on Instagram and like YouTube posts and stuff. But he's cool. He enjoyed For Liberty. He was a big fan of that. And everybody's really excited about just Heroes of the Galactic War and stuff, having released it on the same day. I had sent it to some of the folks over at Arrowhead early because of the event, but they were all loving it, eating it up. So it was really exciting to release that an hour before I walked into the event. was pretty cool. And then people who had seen For Liberty or followed the channel, who figured out who I was, which when I got there, I'll walk through a little bit of the experience of being in there. I had shown up and they hadn't quite opened the doors yet, so I was waiting around outside for them to open up, and I just got chatting with people who were standing outside, who were just people attending the event, and they were like all super nice and stuff, and we were just chilling, talking about the weather is that kind of stuff. Talked about Helldivers a little bit. Then we go inside, we start going through security and whatnot. I'm standing in line waiting to like go scan my tickets and whatever, and then the guy I know at Arrowhead spots me, and they pulled me out of the line and like got me like my VIP stuff and just took me back into the room. And like the people that I had been like talking to outside were like, wait a second, what was the deal with that? That guy just got sniped out of line. And then when they came back into the event space, they were freaking out. They were like, "You're Block Coalition?" I was like, "That's me, just the guy." They're like, Can I get a photo? Can you sign my stuff?" I was like, "I guess." It was a very weird experience, but it was a good time. I'm more than happy. I love being able to meet people. It was just very different because I've never been in that sort of position before. So it was very, very cool to meet folks. But went around, got to mingle, hang out with Sony people, hang out with Arrowhead people, and meet with just different fans, people who love the game, different influencers, stuff like that. So I got to hang out with some of the guys from Galactic Armory, Glitch from Glitch Unlimited, Cold Brew, like I'd mentioned. There were a handful of other folks, but I'm blanking on some names right now. But overall, super cool time. They gave me this shirt, which was pretty cool. I actually put it on for the first time for stream, so I've had a very busy week, and I forgot it was in. They also gave me this bag, which I'll show some of the goodies in the bag. It's kind of hard, but there's like an embroidered Helldivers 2 thing on the top. It's a pretty neat bag. They gave me a mug, which actually, like, I never understood the Stanley Cup craze, but since I've had this, I low-key kind of get it. Having this profile of a mug that is both a handle, but also like thin enough to like hold nicely in your hand. I kind of get the Stanley Cup thing, but I didn't pay $100 or whatever for a Stanley Cup. So yeah, Cold Brew is a cool guy. He was very cool. Me and him hung out a lot. Where did I put this stuff? I think I put it in this pouch. I got a lot of little like knickknacks and stuff from different creators and whatnot. Galactic Armory gave me a few things. For example, they gave me a face the wall little thing. I'll have to put that on some probably on some sort of like clothing thing or whatever. I got a bunch of Arrowhead stickers. Lots of stickers were given to me. More Arrowhead stickers. I need to put those on stuff. I got a Liberty koozie, beer koozie from the Galactic Armory. This was actually kind of cool. This, like, one fan came up and gave me like patches from their faction, which was cool. It's the Viper Commandos Jackal unit, and then this Liberty, Democracy, Justice Helldiver patch. Galactic Armory also gave me this little Lego Helldiver. Pretty cool. I'll have to add them next to one of my Lego sets. I got a Warbond medal, Arrowhead pin, and then I have my lanyard from the event, and all that's pretty cool. But I think by far the coolest thing that I got, put this all away real quick, probably one of my new prized possessions. Put all this stuff away. But the devs gave me a signed copy of Helldivers 2. So I will put that probably like in a case or something. Like in a wall-mounted case. So they did some drawings on the inside as well. It's kind of hard to see in the light. But it's pretty sweet. It's very, very kind of them. So they are all very wonderful people. Not just because they gave me free stuff, but they were genuinely like some of the nicest people I've ever met. You want to see the Lego Helldiver again? Sure. I'll try to get it closer. I dropped the gun, but it's just like it looks like it's just like a stormtrooper gun. But come on. Focus. There you go. There's the little guy. So that came from the Galactic Armory, which they're all super cool. Plot, do you own any of the helmets, like 3D printed version or whatnot? Yeah, I can pull out my helmet real fast. Ooh, if it's easily accessible, give me a moment. Here it is. So this is one that I 3D printed and painted myself. And it's got I have a magnetic back because my head doesn't fit into it. And I have like a thing that goes over my head to keep my hair back. But in the flesh. Which I might take this to a con soon and walk around and hand out stickers and stuff. But that's the one that I have. I'm really happy with how it came out. I want to make more, but my 3D printer has been broken for a good while now. But like, I really love the quality that this is, and the models that I found. There's a guy online who goes by Salty Fennel. And like, this is the actual game file. So the profile of the helmet is correct, which is pretty sick. All right, let me catch up on chat real quick, and then we'll get into... Signed copy of Helldivers 2 from all the devs is going to be one of a kind, right? I mean, I know they were giving out a few, but like, it's not like it's all signed with a Sharpie. So like, everybody kind of like wrote, or like in this case, like there's some drawings on the inside. There's like a little guy with like a siege hammer in the corner here. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but yeah, I'll probably get like a case or something for that. Yeah, the magnets are a lifesaver. They were kind of hard to get in there, but like I got these super strong ones that like it just snaps right to the back of my head. But it also comes off like easy enough. The thing I don't love about it is that it's like there's an obvious crease. It's not too bad. I did a pretty good job cleaning it up, but like there is a crease there from where it's been cut out. We should do a peak game sesh sometime. We absolutely should. How uncomfortable is it to wear the helmet? Not too uncomfortable, but it does like throw me off a little bit when I put it on, because like I just like it's hard to breathe for a moment, but like once I kind of get used to it and like chill out, it's not too bad. But yeah, and then I have like some different things to help with the padding and stuff that helps get my hair out of the way, keep the helmet on my head, and it also has a microphone in there that like the speaker goes on my belt so people can actually hear me when I speak. We do got a super hell dive together sometime. I wanna just regularly play Helldivers and other games a lot more. I've been considering printing one for myself. Any tips for the visor? I'm not sure. I was planning on doing that part. So my visor, I feel like we go over this every once in a while, but I don't mind talking about it. So in like the Galactic Armory tutorial, they like do like the vacuum sealing and stuff. I just took a welding mask. You can kind of see it. You can see my padding in there too. But I just took a welding mask and it's literally like glued and taped in the inside. So I think I like used, yeah, I think I used like the Velcro on the inside, but then I like super like taped it up and glued it down and stuff. It makes it like the tint, it gets really dark. You cannot see through it. Like if I put my hand in there, you can't see my hand. So it is literally a black mirror. I'll put a flashlight in there so you can get an idea of how dark it is. That's how dark it is inside the helmet. That's my flashlight like right up against it. And then you can see how reflective it is. So, it's great in that regard. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. I love 3D printing. I love crafting. I love doing all that stuff. My 3D printer has just been broken and I probably need to get a new one, which I don't want to do. But if I do, I'm getting a Bamboo Labs because I tried to save some money before and it did not work out. So we who are bearded have a built-in ventilator, no helmet needed. Yeah, when I put mine on, I have a thing that kind of like covers up my beard. It pulls all my hair back, and like I can like it gets me pretty snugly in there. That was there was a guy from the Galactic Armory. He had, I forget which armor set it was. He did have a siege hammer, which was cool, but his whole faceplate, he just could pull off the faceplate, and then it would snap. Dark thing he had, it was magnetic and he could snap it right back in. Bullets don't go through beards, exactly. All right, so I want to show you guys a little bit. I'll probably do a bit of a shorter stream tonight, just because I know a lot of people probably wanted to hear about the event and how all that went. But I do want to talk a little bit about the production of yo, what's up, Plot? Not what's up, Plot? What's up, York? If you guys aren't subscribed to York Street Gaming, go check them out. Also, Sam Filmmakers in the chat, which if you haven't seen episode 4 of Helldivers Forever War, go and check that out. It came out the same day as Heroes of the Galactic War. I think it's actually performing better. As it should. What are you at right now? Helldivers Democracy Camp, 143,000 views. Let's go. So, y'all gotta go watch that. York, I need to message you. I need to catch up with you. I got some questions. I need some advice from my bud. Did you get the info I requested? I am not sure. What's up, Fish Floor Tile? Did Arrowhead happen to offer you a job while you were at it? No, they did not offer me a job. But they do love everything that we're doing. And they want to see us do even more of it. Also, Brother Ox, I think I commented on your video earlier, but I really liked your analysis, your breakdown of everything. Okay, so let's get in and talk about episode 2. What's going on, right? So episode 2 takes place with 4 war bonds. Fish Floor Tile. That's what it says, right? That's what I thought it said. Anyway. And I'll hit you up, York. I'll definitely let you know. Episode 2. So it has 4 war bonds in it. It is going to have the most characters of the war bond films. And we're taking things even more of a step up. I think one of the things that I really liked about episode 1 was figuring out and seeing a lot of the pipelines come together, and now I'm figuring out more about how things like substrate work. Also, we got Mr. Sea Urchin in the chat. Finally catching up. This cool dude live. What a day. For those of you who don't know, all the banging trailers that we put out, that's Mr. Sea Urchin. So the For Liberty trailer, the shorts we put out for episode 1, all the little promos leading up to For Liberty, those were edited by Mr. Sea Urchin. He is the GOAT. I'm not sure. I think if you're talking about the space launch thing, Mad Dog, I do still have some messages from you in my inbox, but my inbox is very full, and I got to get back to a lot of people. It's gonna be 15 minutes plus. No, it's gonna be. It's still gonna be pretty short. My goal with this episode is 8 or 9 minutes. And will anything be longer than the first episode? First episode is gonna be pretty typical, I would say. That's my goal with most of them. So until we can do more and whatnot. But let's get right into it. Show it off over here. So I've been learning more about substrate materials and how to make them behave properly and work better. So I was figuring it out with episode 1. For those of you who don't know, substrate materials in Unreal Engine, it's a new way for them to handle the textures and everything, and how do they blend together, how do they reflect the light, all that kind of jazz. So I've been going through the process of just learning more about how they actually work and how to get them to work in the specific use cases that I need. Hi, Grape. Hoi. Happy to have you here. So I'm going to open up this test level real quick. Just show you guys a little bit. We can throw a couple characters in here. But so this is the roadblock character. There's something a little bit weird with the shoulder pad right here that I need to fix. But this is when we get really in on the granular, because there's so many characters right now, they're all only baked out in 2K. The dog came in to say hi. He's moving over to the couch. right now they're baked out in 2K. But like a lot of the grime and stuff, like that's usually, I believe, in 5K. But then like once I know if there's going to be like more close-ups or whatnot, we can like up-res some of those textures if needed. But as a base, everything's starting at 2K. But the substrate material basically allows for the air to be like different levels of things going on, like these scratches and stuff. So I'll pull out a few characters just to show what it kind of looks like. So this is the SR-18 roadblock. We have the Street Scout. We'll zero him out. And you can really see like how much layered grime. There's big scratches, there's little scratches, there's glinting of paint, there's different levels of clear coat. And it also gets broken up when you have like these like super rough areas like clothing. Let me pull out the Grand Juror, is probably like one of the cooler looking ones. Also the legs on the roadblock look pretty cool too. Just like once you really start getting all this grime and stuff. Let me pull out the Grand Juror because he looked pretty cool. The Jackboot I need to work on a little bit. He had some weird texturing issues. Like, look at this guy. Look how much grime is in that. So this is we're trying to up the game, and the textures and the lighting are like the really big things. I voice every character in the next episode 100%. Do I have the cinder block yet? No cinder block yet. Working through each of the characters, so we have some of the cutting edge in here too. We'll pull some of them out. But it's super like cool to actually see in action now that we're getting it all set up, because it really breaks up the light in interesting ways. Like, on top of just being like additional like grime, the way that like if you kind of watch the light, like I'll go super slow, but like you can just see how like the light is like bumping and moving around, and this is just playing back in real time. It looks even better when it's rendered. So it's super cool, and I just like really wanted to get these guys like tons of, you know, little scratches and stuff, and I'll probably add like an additional layer that'll have stuff like their what am I thinking of? I'm totally blanking. Like squid guts, like Illuminate, because this episode is with the Illuminate. I'll also show you like even the hell pad. Like that has like all this like discoloration and different levels of the glass being broken up. The lowest the lowest quality part of it is actually the texture for the hell pad, but you're never really that close, so it doesn't matter as much. But yeah, it's really pretty interesting. Let's also get the prototype 3 has a pretty interesting look. So really upping it. Oh yeah, see, like even like right here. Look at the way the light moves. Look how broken up it is as it passes over all these little scratches and imperfections and stuff and little glints. So it's super cool. as I'm learning like how these new materials work and stuff, and they're just making it look like way better. I'm sure, you know, once I actually have it figured out, I'll be like, wow, I was doing it so terribly then, but like right now it's looking pretty cool. As someone who is studying 3D animation right now, this is beyond incredible levels of texturing. Yeah, and it's like it's interesting because it's like even that guy in the back, he looks great from like right here. These are all just baked out 2K textures. So if there's like a close-up, if I know like I'm gonna be like this close to a character's face, I can bake out like a 4K texture, and I can even up-res that to 8K if I need to. But then like all the additional details that are in these substrate materials to break everything up even further adds so much quality, which is super cool. This model isn't done yet, and I'll kind of apply the material on stream just to show. This character isn't done yet, but like the helmet, I was getting into a pretty solid place. There are some weird things with like some of the textures, like you can see here, like this one just came out like all black and wicked shiny because it wasn't baked properly. I had downloaded these textures from the Helldivers archive. Somebody had posted them, which for stuff like the helmet works, but I need to rebake some of them for some of these other portions. But you can just see like how everything is broken up better and reflects the lights in different ways based off of what it is, and not just in like a flat like, oh, this is just like the metal texture and everything else. It's like, no, like all of that metal now has actual like shine, and like I kind of wanted his helmet to be like a sports car almost, so there's a very little bit of like almost like a rainbowy like oiled texture. Let me I'll turn it up so you can see how crazy it gets. Some of this I took there's like a car pack, so I took some of the nodes out of that car pack to make some of this. But if I go in and I crank this up, you can see like now there's like this crazy gloss on his helmet, like this chemical burn. And that's not even like, if I set that to, oh, that just like, yeah, there we go. Look at that. Trippy. Which is honestly kind of a vibe. But we don't want quite that much. But honestly, when it's kind of higher, I actually like the look of that a little bit more. So it's just super, super cool. Plot, can you walk us through the script writing process? Do you storyboard it yourself? And the first treatment solo? So, also, real quick, I want to answer this question. What about the exosuit? And you can tell us who is piloting it because of the Warbond paint scheme. So no exosuits in the second episode. Those will be in the third episode. I hate to disappoint. We were very torn, but we have to be like very diligent about deciding like where we want to showcase some of this stuff to talk about. But there will be a lot of vehicles in episode 2, so don't you worry. And there will be exosuits in episode 3 for the exact same reason, because episode 3 is the Python and Viper commandos, and so it was like, what do we want to lean into, you know? Ugh. My neck. Talking about the writing process a little bit. Let's chat about that. I'm gonna close this level because probably I can hear my computer. I can hear my GPU humming while loading all of these textures at this resolution. I'm trying to be better about optimizing my Unreal Engine projects, but sometimes I can't help myself. We'll go back to here, and I'll start working on a character, and I'll talk a little bit about the writing process. Have you had a chance to play with the new Squid faction with your copious amounts of spare time? I did a little bit. If you're talking about the ones that like exosuits ones, I'll be honest. I think it's fun. I wish those were more brutal. I don't like how easily they go down with how tanky they appear to be. I wish they were more of a challenge. But that's just me. I like when stuff is kind of punishing, especially when it first comes into the game. Like the Impalers, back when the Impaler came out, that was nuts. What's up, Carson? Go check out Carson Music. He's a pretty cool guy. If you liked some of the music in episode 1, you'll like Carson Music's channel. Okay. Oh goodness, I'm already getting a little bit eepy. Let me drag in the next model, and then I'll start speaking to the writing process. So when it comes to writing, I wrote the first episode of Heroes of the Galactic War. It was a nice brain refresh because I haven't written a script since For Liberty, and For Liberty is outside of the kinds of scripts that I usually write or that I like to write. Cold Sun, episode 1 of Heroes of the Galactic War, is way closer to the kinds of scripts I like to write. And then Cold Sun is that, and then I think probably my favorite script I've ever written was Room 24, the Red Dead Redemption short. So that is like a lot more in line with the kinds of things I like to write. So I wrote and just basically got right into the process of making episode 1. That's the government stealing money. Don't even get me started. For those of you who don't know, I was doing my taxes before this. Then I had to cry for a little while, but now I'm here. So when I got into, like, you know, we were getting into the production of episode 1, and my buddy Luke, he was starting the writing on episode 3. He wanted to write the Viper Python Commandos episode. That's coming together really well. But I was like, we really need to get like a jump start on episode 2. And so Kevin Lauer, who voiced the veteran in For Liberty, he started writing the script for episode 2, which was a tall order because there are so many characters, but the episodes are relatively short compared to the amount of characters that are in them, but we still want to be very strong in our storytelling. And like, you know, whether we're doing something that is more serious, something that is more lighthearted and funny, or just something that it like leans into the rule of cool more, whatever it might be, we want to make that all very, very high quality. So Kevin started writing episode 2. We had like a meeting. He sent like a revised version. I made some edits to that, and we're still in discussions of wrapping up that script, but it's very close to being done. It's very well buttoned up, which I'm very excited about. And I'm just going through and making sure I'm naming these all right. And so basically what happens from there is, with the first episode, it was a little bit easier to be like, okay, we'll start building out some of the assets and stuff. But generally speaking, like, this is going to be driven way more by the character performance, right? But for this, yeah, Kevin's the man. We love our Kevin. We love the Rule of Cool mixed with some Michael Bay. Exactly. Which, like, the episode 1 was probably like the least Michael Bay. Episode 2 is gonna be pretty Michael Bay. If the Earth is not flat, why do we say the corners of the Earth? Okay, Luke, why do we call it a globe? All right. We say the corners of the Earth because we hadn't mapped it all out yet. You silly guy. But where was I going? Now you got me thinking about flat Earth. Silly. So as we're going into this one, basically what we'll have to do, that's different than the first episode, because the first episode we could get away with a little bit with like, all right, we'll start getting voice actors in, and like their performance is going to dictate more of the story than anything else. That was the general thinking with that one. And it all came together well. We re-recorded like very minimal things once we had more of the animation in place. For the second episode, it leans way more into comedy, and it moves like, it's pretty quick. It's basically, I've been describing it as that is too much shine on that dome, brother. Let's clear that top coat. There, yeah, that feels better. Yeah, so with this one, we're gonna have to do a little bit more on the front end to get like the animation and the pacing figured out first, because it's a lot more to communicate to the voice actors of like, this is what this character is doing in this moment, and it needs to land, it needs to be nailed. So we just have to do a very good job of communicating that right out of the box. And the best way to do that is to also kind of show what the characters are doing, what they look like in a scene, like how are they moving around. I'll show an example actually, because I've been wanting to show this for a little bit, to show how crazy it is, the result of episode 1 of Heroes of the Galactic War. Let me show you real quick. I'm gonna pause the music. So we released Heroes of the Galactic War on March 27th. I'm going to show you what it looked like on March 5th. And the only reason it doesn't still look like this is because of this system that I've created and have in place. So this was the first time there was any visual to the movie. I'm going to do the no music version because the music version, I was using stuff like tracks from Dunkirk, and like a few other films just as like temporary placeholders, and I don't want to get copyright strikes. But this is what the movie looked like on the 5th. So some roughed out environments, everybody in T poses, no like additional models. This is what the movie looked like. And it's not much, it's bare bones, but it was enough for me to figure things out and be able to showcase things to people. So basically what episode 2 is going to be is a version like this, with me doing like probably most of, if not all, the voices. But yeah, you can see like how much of this was figured out, and you can see the film. Like, you can see everything that was in the film and how it played out, and a lot of these shots are exactly the same as they were there, but none of it's animated or motion captured or anything. It's very minimal animation anyway. And so this was 20 days before the film came out at all. It's just so crazy to look at. So yeah, everybody's T-posing.
Get on those locks. Mine is 23 already.
This is like one of the few shots that like had a little bit of animation, because that was actually recorded in Unreal, where I just like ran around as the character in the shot. So that's actually probably the closest to final that you'll see in any of this. But like, here's like another example. No visual effects or anything.
They were honorable, Super Earth.
So this is a real honest behind the scenes look.
Please stand.
This was the movie. I want to show you guys.
Through citizens' cause, stead is how humankind reigns supreme.
Watch this. Ready?
No questions or doubt shall be allowed. Traitors will all be disavowed. Managed democracy is the true path.
Here goes a boy with cape. I think it's the same thing for the wife too. Yeah.
Heroes Super Earth could have asked for.
So
We sacrifice and rise free. Super Earth.
but we knew what the film was gonna be, and like that animatic, it didn't take like a ton of time to put together, but it gave a really good idea of where every single thing was going to be plotted out, so that I would only spend time working on those things, which saved a ton of time. That like wasn't questions, or like it wasn't like I was animating shots that I wasn't going to use. And when I assigned things to animators, it was like, here's the movement. This is why it's exactly this long. Like, this is what happens in this. And they all knocked it out out of the park. Let me catch up on chat for a second. I'm a fan of Cube Earth. Do you use a page per minute format when creating the script? Nope, because it's like, can it be accurate? Sure. But like you have to write like a very conventional screenplay, and I don't write super conventionally. I actually write I tend to write my first like version of the script. I write it in a circle to make sure that like all the plot events and everything are happening in a sequence in an order that makes sense. And if they don't make sense in a circular form, then they're probably going to suck when you watch it linearly. So that is how I write my scripts, is I write them in a circle first, and then I go back in and like write from point to point in that circle, because the circle kind of acts as my outline. And then I'm writing point to point rather than just trying to like write the whole thing and then be like, well, now this doesn't work, and where does this go? It's way easier to do it starting with a circle, write point to point, and be more certain of what your story is going to be. And it's why there's things like I think it's called a story clock. So the story clock for episode 1, I think it was like something like it was something like about the same point that like the Arctic Ranger is introduced is the time remaining when she dies. There's like Lucas talking about the fields of prosperity, and then there's a direct line across the circle from when he dies. Stuff like that. That just like make it like this makes sense. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like as like direct as that, but it could just be like, oh, if at here this happens or you introduce this, then you need to have action over here about what to do with that, stuff like that. It's how I've been writing for years, and I love writing that way. And to answer a little bit of your question, episode 2, for example, it's got so much description in the script. I can turn the music back on. It's got so much description in the script that the script is 26 pages, but it'll probably be 8 or 9 minutes. Has it been trying to integrate the war bonds into narratives? I've all but given up on implementing them, especially with how fast they get released. So that's actually a really great question, Sam. I was actually going to message you about this earlier, so I'll just address it on the live. So the way that the war bonds work in my mind is, so like in For Liberty, it was a little bit easier to be like, okay, you have like this cast of characters and they're all like, you know, the idea is that they're expendable. You get rid of one and you can call in another, and like, you know, kind of cycle through them as much as you need to. Which like worked for that film. But like, you know, with the Warbond films, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I think one thing that is important is, one, just to understand what the Warbond is, what certain passives are and stuff. Polar Patriots we got away with a little bit because it's literally like you can throw stuff far. It's like, and so it's like, okay, I'm not like too worried about like showcasing that in as much detail. Or like I don't feel like that needs to be highlighted as much. But then you also have, you know, just like just this idea of like, you know, what kind of environment is that going to be set in, and then like what happens in that environment, in the game. So, for example, in Helldivers 2, I don't know if it happens as much anymore, but did I do the neck separately? I did not. So I'll just adjust this a little bit. But in the game, there used to be like pretty frequently on the ice planets, and it might still happen. I'm not quite certain. I feel like I haven't seen one in a while. But the eclipses were like part of the game. And yeah, they were basically like a way to cause a storm for a little bit before it went back to normal lighting and stuff. So I wanted to implement that because obviously the nature of it being the Polar Patriots in the winter sort of setting. So that was like a reason to do it, not the sole reason, but it gave it some purpose. I'm not worried about making this look too clean because this is going to be pretty well hidden. I just don't want it to be like super shiny. Yeah, I think overall kind of my approach to it is that anytime it's the War Bond characters specifically, they're more of a specialized unit. Whereas like regular Helldivers or like the B-01 Helldivers, they're all more on the expendable side of Super Earth, and the War Bond armors specifically are indicative of like, oh, this is like a character who maybe is still like as expendable, I guess, but is like I feel like you can get away with a little bit more on the side of being just like when you kill this character, you're not going to get them back because they look unique. It's a unique character. And like, I feel like it gives a little bit more leniency with the rules. For example, I see comments all the time on the film. They're like, why didn't they call in a resupply? Or why is nobody using stims? Which, like, it is kind of brief, but if you are paying attention, the guy who gets his foot stamped off, he does use a stim, but it's like, stims in the game are a way for the player to stay in the game a little bit longer. But like, when you're adapting it for film, it's like a stim is probably more likely just a painkiller. Maybe there's some level of like, it can like maybe not necessarily heal you, but like help with internal injuries or something. But like, it's not going to get you like right back up on your feet like it does in the game. It does that in the game because the game's supposed to be fun, right? But like, I can't just take away from like the characters and be like, oh, like anytime they get hurt, like they could just, like poke themselves and they're back in action. So the one guy does stim in the time that like in the duration of the film, and he does it so that his because he's got no more left foot. He does that to help deal with the pain so that he can still respond to the situation, which is all a stim would really do if we had that kind of magic juice, which like the closest thing that we have is either like morphine or methamphetamines. And so it's like, there's a reason why like in like guerrilla urban warfare, it was like extremely popular for like basically these terrorist groups to just like basically all but overdose, and they became invincible in the way that like you couldn't like they could take being shot and still be able to move in a combat scenario, because they wouldn't be able to feel it at first, but it would like eventually kill them. That's kind of how I was treating stims specifically in this instance. But the other thing I see like a whole bunch is like people being like, why didn't they call in supplies? And it's like, at what point did they have time to call in supplies? Like, they're being overrun. You have to wait, like a resupply takes like 15 seconds to land in Helldivers 2, so like that's not a viable option. And it's just like a question of like, what do they have? All of this also compared with it was going pretty smoothly until like that one bot set off a distress signal, and it just so happened that one bot happened to be standing over the lock, had to be moved, and set off that alarm. There's a very real scenario where if that bot wasn't standing there, nothing would have happened. They would have gone through, opened the locks, set off the ICBM even before the screen froze over, and gotten out of there. No one would have known they were there, and in another continent the missile explodes or whatever. So the stim is essentially an adrenaline shot, basically. Also, Kaze, it's good to see you in chat. Happy to have you here. But yeah, that's more or less like how realistically, and like the amount of stims that they just like kind of give out to Helldivers. Like, it's not like it's going to like a medic or anything. It's just like, put this in your back pocket, take it with you. You think a government sanctioned medical device like that is going to be a magic heal you pill? No, it's a painkiller. You know, maybe it can help with like intestinal bleeding or something, but it is not there to help you recover from injuries or fix broken limbs, and whatnot. So that's kind of, you know, my assessment of that. Yeah, 9 out of 9 doctors agree. Exactly. If you were born deaf, what language would you think in? This is actually interesting. So I have nieces and nephews who are deaf. I have 2 deaf nephews and 1 fully deaf niece, and then like a niece who's hard of hearing. And I feel like they don't think in language the way that we do. I think they think more in like the perception of what they know, and like obviously like, you know, sign language and stuff, and that's how what they might use to communicate, or writing words or whatnot. Like, you know, that's all a part of it. Absolutely, but I think their process of thinking just inherently has to be different, because it's void of a sense that would allow them to think specifically, but they like, you know, deaf people can read and stuff still. Hey, Athogen, good to have you here. Good to have you here. Braille, that's blind people. Deaf people can write. Deaf people can read. I know, because anytime I see my nephew, he reteaches me some sign language, either by writing it down or just like he's really, really fast at just being like showing you something, showing you the sign, and like making the connection really fast. And he's also like, he's incredibly patient, but like also like thorough in his sign language. Like even when he's signing to talk to you, because signing is like a very like expressive communication form. And so like you can understand what he's talking about without even knowing sign. He's just that good at communicating. Fellow Aussie, let's go. I have a lot of fans and community people in Australia. It's kind of funny to me. I've met so many Australians through doing this. You already know they are going to make Magic Stims in the Helldivers official movie. They probably will. We used like a little bit of it in the For Liberty. There were a couple of moments where the veteran was just straight up going to die, and that was like you just weren't gonna see him again. So like when he shot the hell bomb and stuff, like there were so many moments where I was like, I think I'll just have him die off on this page, and it didn't happen. But like there's the one part where he gets stabbed and then he gets stimmed pretty shortly after, and it was like a little bit of like there was a little bit of that Hollywoodification of like, oh, there's this character and we just like magically saved him at the moment. That was like about the shock value. Whereas when the main Helldiver, when she gets stimmed during that first battle, it's a little bit more like you just kind of started following her, because before that you were following the cadet, and it was more like, okay, like she's getting stimmed, pulled into cover, like all this stuff going on. Like it felt a little bit more acceptable. When the veteran does it, it's a little bit more like, he just got saved by the magic juice, and him getting stabbed was definitely a way to get people to be like, no, not the veteran. But yeah. We're a passionate breed. If Apple made a car, would it still have windows? Apple was making a car. I think they abandoned that project. Y'all got to deal with over half the animals trying to kill you. Y'all are built different. Bumping in my previous question regarding your use of robotic terminids, did Arrowhead ever speak to you regarding the concept? Would love to know their thoughts and see them in the game. That has not specifically come up, no. When I was talking, one of the people I talked to was the narrative director of the game, and we were talking about a few different things, and he was mentioning, he was like, because I had asked him, I was like, oh, like, was there like anything from the film that like stood out to you, or anything that you would have done differently? And he was like, honestly, what like the thing that stood out to me the most was the way that you guys adapted the game in ways that it was never designed to be done, or you worked in mechanics that were never designed to be like story elements or anything like that. And that's something that like I like with video game adaptations specifically, I really enjoy doing, is just this like this dissection of like, how do I take this thing that's in the game and make it applicable or workable in this new context. I think like a good example of that is, you know, when you're diving in the game, you get the tips on screen, which are supposed to be more like if you like your character has read the manual. And so like these are just like tips that appear on screen from like your training or whatever. That's where it's assumed to be coming from. But in obviously a cinematic form, you can't just be like outside of the hell pod and just show that. So that's where I came up with the idea of like, well, what if there's just a screen inside of the hell pod that is like, hey, here's like your last minute, like we're gonna brief you on as many things as possible on your way down to increase your chances of survival when you hit the ground. Like once you get down there, good luck. And so that's where putting the screen in the hell pod kind of came from. Yo, what's up, Barkville Productions? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm getting EP. I'm becoming an EP boy. Let's see what we're working with. The leg armor. This question may or may not be answered, but will we see Chaos Divers? You'll have to wait and see. They aren't officially written into the series yet, but I have a very good idea of where I would want them to go. So that is something I'm going to see about, and if it works, we'll use it. Hold it. Did I bake this twice? What was going through my head? I don't know. I might be dead. I might check it. Was it Ben? I don't know. Let's try this one first. I think it's the right one. Drop it in. Look at me. First try. Voteless divers, brother, you're gonna get sent to democracy camp with that kind of thinking. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen Democracy Camp on Sam Filmmaker's channel, what are you doing? Go and watch that right now. I've seen people mentioning from Sam Filmmaker's film, the Democracy Camp episode 4, whatever it's going by these days, the like this idea of like the face the wall meme having more legitimacy to it, and like what it actually means. And then I'll be interested to see how that comes across with my plans for the Truth Enforcers episode, because that's one that I'm planning on writing. I have a very good idea of what I want to do with it, but it would be like, my idea is gruesome. There's really no other way to put it. My idea is pretty messed up. on a lot of levels. I would say if you haven't watched New Frontiers, which like the animation, you gotta forgive the animation. It's not all that great. But like some of the stuff that New Frontiers deals with is like stuff that I want to crank up to 11 with my Truth Enforcers episode when I get to it. Will we see any perspective of Helldivers in training? Probably not. Not in what we have slated for like this first slate of 8 episodes. The first 8 episodes, they're all very interesting concepts, like each of them uniquely. And that's something that I want to have be like the common theme across all of them. I actually use this one. I'll actually just keep it named Placard. I'll just probably just adjust it. But I want them all to be unique. Aww. Luke, thank you for gifting. That's super cool. Still waiting for the cheese eating animation. Can't say that I have any plans for that. But the cheese was in episode 1 still. It was in it when it rendered. Cheese was still there. What was it I was getting to? By golly, I forgot to know. Sorry, I need to adjust a couple of things. But yeah, I really want to make it like I want every episode to be very very distinctly its own thing, while still like try not to like get into too many specifics, but like they're all gonna tell their own perspective on things, which I think will be interesting to see how that plays out and how people respond to it over time. For example, episode 1 like kind of dealt with topics like religion and like, you know, what is your purpose as a Helldiver, like all these sorts of questions that, like, you know, the game doesn't really ever have time to discuss with the player. And like that was the whole intention of that episode. This episode leans way more into the comedy aspect, but like there is still it's like it's one of those things where it's like I have like a friend who said to me a long time ago, and it stuck with me as like kind of one of my go-to things, but like he had like a parent who had passed away, and some other things that had happened in his life, and I just remember he would just be like, yeah, I mean, if you can't laugh about it, it's just sad. It's like that I feel like is a perspective that you don't hear enough people talk about, you know. And I feel like for most of us, like we really want things to just be as normal as possible, especially when there's like some sort of hardship going on. And so, like, that's kind of what a little bit of this episode is rooted in, where it's more like the comedy, the slapstick, whatever you want to call it, when it happens, is masking, the harsher realities or things that are going on, and what it all really means and how it contributes to the Helldivers universe. Not necessarily being to like a point where it's like, man, isn't that like so messed up? But like more from a like the show as a whole will kind of do more of this the more we release episodes and stuff, but like it's the fact that they're all coming from the same universe. You're not watching like, oh, this is like Caleb just needed there to be a funny episode in today's episode of Heroes of the Galactic War. It's like, nah, they're written this way because they are all plausible and happening in this universe. You're just getting a different delivery. You're getting a different flavor of ice cream today with this episode. So, it'll be interesting to see how people respond. I have a feeling there'll probably be a healthy amount of people who will be like, man, the first episode started so strong because it was so grounded in reality. And it's like, I mean, like, it's gonna go so back and forth. There are gonna be episodes that are more lighthearted. There's gonna be some episodes that are just cool, and then there's gonna be episodes that are super messed up, and you'll need a palate cleanser from them. And they don't necessarily like I feel like there's really only 2 episodes that lean more into the comedy than the other ones. But then like after that, like it's pretty like I think it goes, if I had to nail it down, and like not even all of them that are comedies are like strictly comedies either. They just they have more of a comedic base than some of the others, but I believe it goes episode 1, obviously more serious tone, episode 2 comedy, episode 3 cool comedic, episode 4 another serious, more heavy one, episode 5, because it's episode 1 Polar Patriots Master's Ceremony, 2, I'm just gonna say Force of Law even though it's got 4 war bonds, 3 Viper Python Commandos, 4 Redacted Regiment, 5 and ODST, 5 I believe is Borderline Justice and Dust Devils, 6, yep, then 6 is Truth Enforcer. So Borderline Justice and Dust Devils, that's going to be a little bit more on the comedic side, and then 6 is Truth Enforcers. That one's going to be like pretty messed up, like probably the heaviest serious one, where it's like, oh, this is not fun at all. And then episode 7 will be Freedom's Flame, and Chemical Agents. That one is going to be another not fun one. Not fun in like it's interesting. It is a very interesting concept that we cooked up for that one. And then episode 8 will be the Democratic Detonation and Steeled Veterans. And that one will be like probably like the one that leans most into like the cool aspect over anything else. Yeah, if you want an example of like a Dark Truth Enforcers episode, go and watch Sam Filmmaker's film he put out. It does a good job on that front. Whoa! Oh shoot. I did it backwards. Alright, I am going to wrap up these textures and then I'll probably end the stream. We'll do these last two. One is the screen. It's the first one, right? Yep. This also has a back plate? I feel like I missed this. I'm just gonna say, let's take the... I have just been taking these and duplicating them. And then, like for some of these, and then just being like, can't I just fold this in a way where like it's passable? Especially for like an element like this, it's like, unless like it becomes like a part of a shot, then I could see like going in and you know, trying to do a little bit more with it. But like in this instance, I'm just like, nah. Can I fake it? Like that. It's like, that's good enough for me. You know what? It's like this butt piece. It'll be covered by the cape. And everything else is looking good. Helmet's a little bit dirty. I feel like that's the thing I'm running into the most, is that the visors, I feel like I need to separate and do more of a glass texture on. But otherwise, model's looking nice. Lots of scratches, fingerprints, all this stuff to split up the light. It's looking good. Very excited to see how you handle the rest of the war bonds, especially after your description of the TE one. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I do like that, like, I'm not like beholden to like, oh, there's new war bonds coming out and I need to figure out how to pivot to that. Having them all kind of set is definitely nice. When I was working on For Liberty, like when they added new stuff to the game, it was like, well, how can we add that? And there might be like some level of that to like a small degree, but nothing crazy, nothing insane. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right there. I hope you all had a wonderful time. Mika Andre, sorry, just catching on the stream. But happy to have you here. Also about having the volley shot variable. Oh, trust me, we are putting as much as we can in this episode. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in, for hanging out. Like I mentioned, the event with Arrowhead went well. They're all super cool. We're starting production on episode 2. We'll probably be holding auditions here soon. We're going to keep moving things right along. So thank you all for hanging out, for supporting, for being here. If if you want to help support what we do and make it more of a reality to where we can do this in a more full-time capacity, consider becoming a member, a channel member, or a Patreon supporter. That would go a long ways. I am sleepy, so I'm gonna call it right there. Everybody have a good night. If you're still gonna be up for a little bit, maybe play some Helldivers too. That could be pretty cool. All right, y'all. We'll catch you later. I'm gonna fade myself out. I'm gonna fade the music up. So eventually, I'm gonna go away, and the music's gonna get loud, and that'll be your cue.